They're using this crisis, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, as an excuse to extend their power 2 weeks, and then it's 2 weeks more, and then it's 4 weeks more, and a never-ending story. And interesting thing is one law for me, one law for thee. They are telling you to stay home, but they themselves are flying, going to Hawaii, Barbados, Belize. They're visiting their parents. They got their private choppers. They got the private mansions in Florida, California, and they can do whatever they want, but they tell you stay home. Also, they say to you and me, we are in this together, and yet you're losing businesses, you're losing money, and they are getting full pension, they're getting full salary plus bonuses. Believe it or not, we are in the greatest crisis during our lifetime, and they just gave themselves a raise, those people. And they tell you and me, we are in this together. This is not the time for a discussion. This is not the time for a debate. Get out. This is a church service. They pretend that they're upholding the law. They pretend that they're here to save me, to help me, to protect people, but yet they're breaking the Constitution at the same time. They're lawbreakers. A law doesn't matter. They come in the name of the law, but they're breaking the law right in front of our faces. I'm a shepherd. My job is to protect the people that God has given to me. Those are elderly women with children. They come to the church believing that they will be protected, that their pastor is going to stand up when the villains, evil, will come storming. And that's what I did. I don't think I did something extraordinary. I just stood up for them. I stood up for my rights, and they had no rights to be there. They were coming there only to intimidate and harass. So I needed to do something about that. And my message to the leaders is very simple. Are you true leaders? Are you willing to stand up and fight? Who are you working for? That's my question. Are you working for God, or are you working for government? If you're working for government, you should change your title from a priest or a pastor or a clergyman, reverend, to something else, a politician perhaps. I work for God. And in my Bible is very clear that we are to gather, that I am to pray for the sick, that I am to protect those that God has given to me, feed the poor, take care of the orphans and the widows, because my church is a church of lions. We have amazing people. In order to push the evil, you got to stand up against that evil. You know, the only thing that is stopping evil from spreading is good people refusing to do what they are required to do. And it's always the right thing to do the right thing. The Bible from the very beginning to the very end is calling us to do something. Jesus Christ didn't say, I love you, and he sat down on his throne. He said, I love you, and he came, he was born, and he lived, and he hung around with sinners, and then eventually he died for our sins. He didn't say, I love you, but I will not feed you. He fed the poor. He didn't say, I love you, but I'm not going to heal you. I have the power to heal you, but I will not do it. He was a doer, not just a talker. Talk is cheap. God was all about doing. Even the Black Plague didn't shut down the doors of the church. The wars didn't shut down the church's doors. Communism, fascism, even in China, we have millions upon millions of Christians that are refusing to shut down, and they are preaching and they are congregating, that we always have hope. There is always hope. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and turn away from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. But also I pastor a church that those police officers walked in. It's called the Cave of Adullam. The Cave of Adullam is a story when David was hunted down by authorities, by King Saul, and he hid himself in a fortress in a Cave of Adullam. And when the people heard about this, when they heard that David, their champion, is there, they joined him, and from that he created his army that everyone was afraid of. In the end, we read the mighty men of David. So go, be bold, be courageous. We are lions, following the lion from the tribe of Judah. We're not hyenas. Let the hyenas walk out the doors. We are the lions, fending off the wolves And we got to be courageous. This is a time for heroes and champions of God. This is not the time for cowards. If you want to bring dictatorship, you have to create a reason. You have to create a false crisis. So they're using this to enslave you. What they want, and they're implementing this, is this great reset. Extremely wealthy and extremely poor. Why? Because you can control the masses when the masses are poor. Believe me, I grew up in a country that was controlled. 36 million Poles were controlled by 50,000 communists. You know, communism is a horrible thing. It's hell on earth. Police can come to your house 5 in the morning, break the door, beat you up, torture you, arrest you for no reason. There was no law. There was lawlessness. There was no justice. There was a famous saying that I always repeat by the police officers. They always said, give me a man and I will find something on that man. You were dragged before the courts. The courts were corrupted. No one followed Constitution. No one was allowed to follow Constitution. It was propaganda at every corner. There was no freedom of press. They had to pump you every day with propaganda, with lie after lie after lie. You couldn't just say, I don't like this, what the government is doing. You would be tackled to the ground. You would be arrested. You would lose your job. You would be tortured. And there was nowhere you could go. You couldn't go and say, oh, they've done this to me. Right. Because if you complained, they would beat you up again and they would arrest you. And some clergymen, a famous clergyman, when they were daring to say anything against the communist government, they disappeared. And then 30, 40 years later, they were finding their bodies. People were disappearing on a regular basis. The police would come into the house, they would take your husband or your wife away, and you would never see them again. And no one would know what happened to you. That's communism. Don't kid yourself. Communism is not this cute thing that everyone is equal. You know, one day your kids will look into your eyes and they will say, Daddy, Father, why you didn't defend me? Why you didn't stand up for me when you could? When I look in the mirror, I am not ashamed of myself. When I look in the eyes of my sons and my daughter, you know, I am able to say to them, your daddy did what I could. I did what I could. I stood the ground. I fought the Nazis. I fought the wolves. And if I failed, forgive me, but I did my best. And if I will perish, I will perish. It's okay. Maybe, hopefully, in the name of Jesus, another man will take my place. And you know, I'm glad that people are catching up that fire, because that's what we need right now in our countries. We need to rise up. And you know what? I want to finish with this.
Sure.
You don't have to like me. This is not a popularity contest. This is about fighting for what's right. This is fighting for the future of our children and our grandchildren. We have to unite, even if we disagree on certain topics. We have to unite, because what they want to do to you and me is the same thing. They want to enslave us. They don't look at you as you go to this church or that church, or atheist or not. If you're not part of the party, their party, you're an infidel, and they want to cut your head off. Don't allow them. Let's unite. In 1981, in Poland, with my own eyes, I saw the power of unified Poles when they took it to the streets during solidarity with Lech Wałęsa. I'm telling you, millions of people had enough. They went to the streets and they got their country back. Because you would think that those people will give up, and the evil never gives up. The darkness never just walks away. You got to bring the light. You have to fight the evil. You have to push the evil. It's all. We have been fooled for the past 13 months. We have been lied to. They're using this excuse as this tragic situation that we are in the middle to deprive people from their rights, from their homes, from their businesses. 10 to 15 businesses are being closed every single day in a city of Calgary. If you come to Calgary and you walk downtown, your heart will be broken if you love people, if you love the city, because it's for lease, for sale, for rent. For lease, for sale, for rent. Business after business after business closed. Dead, ghost, downtown. But Calgary was a very powerful city. It was very strong, very rich. Right now is a ghost town.
That's what they've done. They killed it, and they're finishing off. They are not done killing. You gotta understand, they're not done killing. They are killing every day. They are to finish the job to the globalistic agenda. They hate patriotism. Christians are very patriotic. I love my country. I came to Canada because my old country, Poland, was not giving me the opportunities and the freedoms that we all wanted to have. When I had a meeting in Canadian embassy in Athens, in Greece, about Canada, and they said, no one will hunt you down here, no one will persecute you in Canada. It's a free and democratic country. You can work, you can worship. It's an amazing country. Come, sell your business. We used to have a business in Greece, and bring your money to Canada, the best country, honey and milk, and you can do whatever you want. And so we did. We did, and here we are today fighting for the second time against tyranny.
Now,
These days, it's a medical tyranny. I am in this state of not knowing if the next knock on the door is going to be SWAT team breaking the door or asking for me to come out because I am under arrest. You have lawlessness, you don't have law and order, and I mean, I'm fearing for what's next because no one really knows what's next. Are we going to have riots on the streets? Are going to take justice in their own hands? Because if the courts are not backing you up, if the police in uniforms are not protecting you, we know how that story ends, right? So I'm not just your average preacher. I have done my time. I have faced the giants of the land, Minister of Justice, Attorney General, number of crown prosecutors, number of city lawyers, number of aldermen, MLAs, MPs. I mean, I faced those people for many years, and I won. If enough people would just say 3 words, no, get out, this would be over. You don't need to do even anything else. We will have our lives back. However, this is the problem, right? People have been so comfortable for so long, they don't want this. They don't want this. They're terrified of this. And you know, this is the summary of communism and socialism. They don't want to save people. They're good at killing, murdering people, okay? So that's why they hate anyone that saves lives, because they're in a business of murdering people. And that's what you see. I grew up in a country like this, and they were not interested in helping people. They were interested in controlling their slaves, because 50,000 communists were ruling 36 million Poles, their slaves. And when the slaves finally in 1981 said enough, it's enough, we're not going to cooperate. Yeah, I know it takes unity. It takes us coming together and saying, no, get out. That's it. You got to go to your political arena and say, no, get out. You got to go to your mainstream media, say, no, get out. You got to go to universities, say, no, get out. Replacing, I call it cleaning the swamp. And my associate pastor, Peter, he was outside guarding the door. I mean, these days, when you're living in Canada, you got to guard the doors, and not because you're afraid of the thieves and the gangsters breaking in. When they see a police, some people are shaken. You know, I had a lady, she was shaken for 3 hours after they left. You know, people are traumatized by the past lives, and the last thing they are expecting is armed officers in the middle of church service that should be always a sanctuary for people. If you don't stop them at the beginning of their game, they're going to take everything away from you. They will never stop. They need to be stopped. So you gotta understand how the system works. It takes everything like a cancer and moves slowly but surely and takes everything. Armed forces are coming to you and telling you the way you worship God is wrong. Why it's wrong? Because the state says so. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. What it matters, it's only propaganda. What he meant by this, if you keep telling people the same lie over and over again, and you keep telling it, eventually, sooner or later, people will believe this as to be the truth. And that's what they're doing. It's like mantra. Have you not noticed that every day for the past 13 months, radio, TV, newspapers, politicians, non-stop, you're being bombarded with the same rhetorics. You're going to die if you don't put the muzzle on. You're going to die if you don't social, non-stop. We ordered our rights. We were guaranteed. If you tell me it was on TV, I say, oh, what propaganda they were saying. That's my first reaction, because they're liars. We have proven them to be liars all the time. They're mixing a lot of truth with a lots of lie, and they're mixing it so much that it's extremely hard for especially young people to see what is the real deal, what is the truth. That's why now we have entered an era when you really gotta do your homework. When they tell you something, go and check for yourself. My point, when the government is telling you to do something and they're willing to give you money for it, to put something in your body, you know that you know they have an agenda, and you should run from it as far as you can. Great Reset only works for them when you have nothing, and you will be controlled, and you will have no privacy, but they will own you and they will own everything else. And first step that any totalitarian government is going to do is going to take your rights to own a firearm. Will take your rights to be able to defend yourself just in case. Will take your rights to go hunting, because you gotta remember, the totalitarian governments always control food supply. They hate the idea of a man going to the mountains and shooting his own food. That's a no-no for every dictatorship. They have to control what you eat, how you eat it, with whom you are eating it. So my say to you is this: enjoy your freedom, enjoy all of your amendments to your constitution, and do not allow any of them, not even the littlest one, not the less important one, to be taken away from you. Because what I know from history and growing up under communist dictatorship is this: they will come back for another. If you look at every nation that took the freedom of religion away, always, every single time, it turns into a totalitarian government. Deprive you from your rights, and that's their tactics, is to whine and scream and yell until you have no rights and they can come and shoot you.
Please get out. Get out of this property. Immediately get out. Get out of this property immediately. Out. I don't want to hear anything. Out of this property immediately. I don't want to hear a word. Out. Out. Out of this property immediately until you come back with a warrant. Out. 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 Out of this property. Immediately out. Immediately go out and don't come back. I don't want to talk to you. Not a word. Out of this property. Out of this property. Immediately out. I don't care what you have to say. Out. Out. Out of this property, you Nazis. Out. Out. Gestapo is not allowed here. Immediately, Gestapo is not allowed. Out! Do you understand English? Get out of this property. Go. So go. Go. And don't come back without a warrant. Out, Nazi. Out. Out. You understand? Nazis are not welcome here. Out. And don't come back without a warrant. Do not come back without a warrant. You understand that? You're not welcome here. Nazis are not welcome here. Gestapo is not welcome here. Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths. Unbelievable, sick, evil people. Intimidating people in a church during the Passover. You Gestapo, Nazi, communists, fascists. Don't you dare coming back here. Can you imagine this? Psychopaths. Passover, the holiest Christian festival in a year, and they're coming to intimidate Christians during the holiest festival? Unbelievable. What is wrong with those sick psychopaths? It's beyond me.
Well, friends, we have a SWAT team in our church again, coming authorities. So I'm going to go out and see what they want. Well, you're in my personal space, so
Can I explain to you, Artur?
I'm not really interested in what you have to say.
Can I explain to you?
I'm reading.
What we want to do is make sure that we're not going to disrupt anybody in the service.
This is, you have a wrong. This is not street church. This is not street church. You have a wrong. The Cave of Adullam is not a registered organization, and this is not street church, so you have it wrong. You gotta do your homework first before you come, okay? You have a wrong organization. Yeah, you can contact. No. You can contact my lawyer, okay? My lawyer takes care of this. I'm not interested to listen to any word you have to say. I do not cooperate with Gestapo. I do not talk to the Nazis. You came in your uniforms like thugs. That's what you are. Brown shirts of other people. You're Nazi, Gestapo, communist, fascist. I do not cooperate with Nazis. Talk to my lawyer. You're not allowed here. You're not welcomed here. And I'm not going to cooperate with Gestapo like you, okay? So is that fair enough for you? Talk to my lawyer. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in talking. You see, this is what the Gestapo is doing. You're coming to the place of worship to intimidate and to harass. So you can make an appointment. Lady, listen to me. You can make an appointment another day. You Gestapo. Another day. Not this day. Not this day. Not during the church. You understand? Make an appointment. Okay, so go. See you later on. Have a good day. You are sick. That's what you are. And rightfully so, you change your uniforms to black because you're exactly acting like the Gestapo of old. Sickening what this country came to. Coming to the place of worship with their uniform, with their guns, again, during the time of worship. They could do it another time. They could do it another day. No, they are following the orders of the Führer, Hitler, communists. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wicked, evil people. Wicked, evil people. Unbelievable. It is what it is. If Canadians will not rise up and stand up, if they will not come to their senses, while there is still a time, while there is a time to wake up and push this evil, there will be absolutely no rights whatsoever. If they can get away with this, they're going to come anywhere else. I have been warning you for 16 years about what's coming, and it's here. And it's up to you. Either you're going to keep pushing as hard as you can, or you're going to be swollen by those people. It's here. It's here. And you cannot come and worship God without the interference of the Gestapo. You cannot pray with people. You cannot associate. You cannot have a Lord's Supper together. Why? Because the government says so. You would think that this would happen in China, in Russia, but it's happening here in a Western democracy. What are you going to do about it? Will you stand up? Will you fight? Will you push? Or will you just bow to the medical tyranny, because that's what it is, and give up everything? Because they're coming for everything. Wake up or else. Hello friends, this is Pastor Artur Pawlowski. If you're watching this video, that means they have successfully arrested me and I am in jail. If you would like to support me If you like to support Rebel News and the legal team that is trying their best to get me out of this trouble, please go to saveartur.com. Please donate, please help me, help my family, help my wife and my children to get me out of this horrible, illegal situation. Please go to saveartur.com.
Every man dies, but not every man really lives.